In this episode of Highlight Sundays, Samsung, Google, and Android, we're going mobile this week. Hello and welcome back to Highlight Sundays. It is the 12th week of 2013 and here are your highlights. You'll be happy to know that there is no PSA this week, which is why we're jumping right into our first article entitled "Here's an infographic on the Samsung Galaxy S line." And of course, more importantly, up to number 4. In case you are not aware, Samsung's Galaxy S series has garnered a whole lot of attention since its second iteration. The Galaxy S3 was very well received, and now Samsung has actually gone ahead and announced the S4. This has of course stirred up a lot of attention. A lot of people are extremely interested in this new phone, which is why I thought I would take this chance to actually, introduce you to the series if you are not already aware. In this GSMArena article, what you'll see is a large infographic. It shows essentially every iteration of the Samsung Galaxy S phones, starting from the Galaxy S, the S2, the S3, and the S4. It also compares some of the more significant features of the phones as well as their release dates. And of course, the infographic ends with the S4 showing off some of its more prominent features. This includes its Full HD screen, 8-core processor, as well as its 13-megapixel back camera. Pretty interesting stuff. If you're interested, head down to the video description. You will find a link to GSMArena. Our next article still covers Samsung, entitled "Samsung Exec confirms upcoming smartwatch." Now, you know I've been quite into these smartwatch type stuff, which is why of course this headline caught my eye. Now that a major industry player, that is Samsung, has actually picked up the whole concept of smartwatches, I guess we can say it's kinda going to blow up. So I'm very excited to see the future of this sort of technology. Now, according to the article, interestingly, Samsung has actually tried stepping into the entire smartwatch market before. In fact, if you head down to the article, you will see the image at the top actually shows one of the models from 2009. So yeah, in fact, 4 years ago, Samsung has already been trying out the waters. Unfortunately, maybe back in the day things didn't really catch on. Perhaps technology back then wasn't quite as good as it is today. Either way, I don't think that previous model actually sold very well. At least the article called it ill-fated. So, we can kind of see where it went. Now, of course, we've had rumors that Apple is entering the entire smartwatch thing. So of course, it isn't exactly surprising to know that Samsung is trying to break into this industry as well. And there is proof that, there is actually a huge interest for this, seeing as that the Pebble Kickstarter was extremely successful. So I'm very interested to see a new era of wearable computing. It might not be extremely useful just yet, because many of our existing devices sort of overlap with a smartwatch too much. But hey, that's what every technology is like at its infancy. Hopefully, it will blossom on its own and become something valuable. For those of you who hoped Google Chrome OS and Android OS would merge to become one, well, I'm afraid your hopes are dashed. This article from PCWorld is entitled "Google Sticking to Plan to Keep Android, Chrome Separate." Now, according to the article, apparently key personnel who were actually working on the Android OS was replaced by someone from the Chrome OS team. So of course, this caused a lot of speculation as to whether, Chrome OS and Android OS are going to actually merge. But of course, the Google chairman Eric Schmidt has actually come up to say, no, we are not going to merge Chrome OS and Android OS. So I guess this is a good thing if you ask me, because a mobile OS should be a mobile OS, a desktop OS should be a desktop OS. If you try to mash the two together, things get chaotic. Can we think of a recent example of this happening? Speaking of Google, they've released a new service this week called Google Keep. Now, many people are actually treating this as Google's response to Evernote. I mean, functionally, they are very similar because Google Keep is basically a note-taking application. You can add pictures, you can add stuff from the internet. So yeah, that's why many people are sort of comparing Google Keep and Evernote very strongly. As for me, I actually have both Evernote and Google Keep on my phone right now. I'm just experimenting with the two to see how things go. Similar to Evernote, Google Keep also has a desktop version. It is actually accessed via your browser. At this stage, it's not actually integrated with Google Drive just yet. However, I believe this is planned. They will, of course, eventually do this. If you're interested to check out this service, in addition to a breakdown of its features, feel free to hop down to the video description and take a look at this article from PCWorld. Please also bear in mind that Google Keep is essentially beta software. As of the day of filming, it's maybe 3 to 4 days old. So yeah, who knows what kind of directions it could take in the future. Now, if you thought the previous 4 articles were extremely related to each other, well, here's one that's completely off topic. This article comes from Lifehacker and is entitled "Pick the Right Color for Design or Decorating with this Color Psychology Chart." Now, if you remember some time back, I actually showed you an article that was talking about color as well. That one was about how you should avoid black to bring out the contrast in other colors. This one talks about the colors themselves. What colors should you choose and what kind of meanings they could possibly represent. If you've just stepped into design, or if you are sort of deciding what kind of colors you want to choose, this is actually pretty useful. It's an infographic as well as a long infographic, which has a whole bunch of colors and their meanings. So if you're interested to check it out, do hop down to the link in the video description. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of this episode, but well, I can always fluff it up a bit with a little vlog segment. This is probably something you're not very interested in, but I'll do it anyway and make it quick. Sometime last week, my watch actually broke, and I was like, is this a sign? Is something telling me I should buy, something more interesting? So for a period of a couple of days, I was actually really considering getting a smartwatch of some kind, but then my dad bought me another Casio, so well, that's that. Now, I've actually mentioned this before in another vlog, but really my pull for getting a smartwatch is just the customized watch face. It's not a very strong pull, especially for something that costs, more than a trivial amount of money, which is why, well, I guess I'll just live with a traditional watch for now. In other news, there is a slightly big scale Steam sale going on this weekend. For those of you who are interested in buying some stuff for slightly lower prices, you might want to look over Steam. I bought something. It's a game called 10 Million. Now, I believe it was, or should I say it still is, a phone game, but they've ported it to PC. It's a large screen. It is pretty addictive, considering how at its base it really is just a match 3 game. So there's that. That's all there is for this episode of Highlight Sundays. If you have any comments, queries, or suggestions, or if you have anything to share for the next episode of Highlight Sundays, please do leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out the official Twitter account for this channel at twitter.com/0612tv. As always, I appreciate every like, favorite, and subscription you give me. But that's it. Until next time, you're watching 0612TV.